Hello, and welcome to the Superliminal Developer Commentary. I'm Albert, Game Director of Superliminal. Myself and the rest of the team will be popping up every now and then as you play. With subtitles open, you can see who is talking and what their role on the game is.
Hi, this is Will O'Neill, and I was the writer on Superliminal. The emergency exit protocol is the shortest-lived character in the game, but my heart really goes out to him. Because just like a triangle player in an orchestra, he has precisely one job, and he waits patiently for his moment to do it, only of course to have it snatched away just as that moment arrives. I think many people can identify with this feeling.
Complete. You are exhibiting signs consistent with an increase in fear, hopelessness, and frustration. This is inconceivable, as somnasculpt therapy is proven to correlate with a decrease in these emotions. Hypothesis: patient was improperly oriented. Conclusion: impossible. Reformulating. Improved hypothesis: patient requires additional somnasculpt therapy. Conclusion: emergency exit protocol cannot proceed. Emergency exit protocol has been emergency destroyed. Instruction: continue with somnasculpt therapy indefinitely on an independent basis, as all orientation resources have been exhausted. This concludes your standard orientation protocol. Goodbye.
My name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. Thank you for completing the Somnosculpt Standard Orientation Protocol. Before you begin the first phase of therapy, I'd like to briefly describe the finite and fragile nature of the dream state.
Hi, I'm Logan, and I'm level designer on Superliminal. We had all these surprise moments prototyped, and so I wondered what it would feel like if we had a whole level of surprise moments. I wanted it to be fast chase. This is the boss level of the game, basically. It's inspired by the third act of the movie Brazil, how it gets crazier and faster paced over time. We had all these surprise moments prototyped, and so I wondered what it would feel like if we had a whole level of surprise moments. I wanted it to be fast-paced. The working title for this level was Chase. This is the boss level of the game, basically. It's inspired by the third act of the movie Brazil, how it gets crazier and faster paced over time.
Of course, nothing is more challenging than the difficulty of changing perspective, of fundamentally altering your perceptions in a way that will enable you to face dire, trial-by-fire scenarios with solutions that could not be found otherwise.
Hey, this is Matt. I did the music and sound. The music throughout the game really goes through a significant transformation, but the piano is always there to guide you. Even as the music becomes darker and more electronic, it always has the melody, or at least a really significant role to play. It It changes as you progress through the game. I switch to different types of piano, starting out with a piano Bill Evans famously recorded on. Later, switching to a more modern sounding instrument. I double it with prepared piano sounds sometimes. I use felt piano, and gradually more reverbs and delays as the game evolves. But at the heart of each piece is the piano.
The blueprints are one of the secrets that we added to the game, and if you find them all, you'll unlock a special secret. The diagrams are actually top-down, wireframe views of parts of the levels, and they're blue.
Finally, while we respect the unique progress of every patient, you must understand that it is possible to completely exhaust your supply of dreams, thereby entering a state in which you will not be able to wake up, even with the help of triggering mechanisms.
Chess pieces are one of the new collectibles we added in the game a few months after we launched. A lot of our puzzles are based on surprise rather than dexterity, so we decided to add these chess pieces that require expert use of the game mechanic in order to get.
Hi, my name's Chris. I was the producer and designer on Superliminal. I don't know why it is, but people really like finding gaps in the walls and crawling into them. For our trickiest hidden spaces in the game, we added literal Easter eggs for people to find, because that's what made sense at the time.
Hi, my name is Ryan, and I was the principal artist on Superliminal.
Hi there, I'm Steve, the art director of Superliminal.
The original idea for Labyrinth was to explore earlier areas, but with a new spin on them. Sometimes it was a matter of adding new interactive moments to turn things on their head, while for others, we would take existing locales and give them a new lick of paint and set dressing. Something familiar, yet fresh and unexpected.
That instability is perfect for the mood and for general world building too. Conceptually, different patients would be bringing different experiences with them into the dream state, and we wanted to reflect that.
The original idea for Labyrinth was to explore earlier areas, but with a new spin on them. Sometimes it was a matter of adding new interactive moments to turn things on their head, while for others, we would take existing locales and give them a new lick of paint and set dressing. Something familiar, yet fresh and unexpected.
That instability is perfect for the mood and for general world building too. Conceptually, different patients would be bringing different experiences with them into the dream state, and we wanted to reflect that.
Hi, my name is Phil Fortier, and I was the graphics programmer on Superliminal, and I also worked on some of the Easter egg design. So one day, for whatever reason, I was looking up reference material for astral planes on the internet, and one of the results was the astral plane that appears in the TV show The OA. And at the same time, we were trying to figure out different optical illusions we could use for the Easter eggs that were different from the main gameplay. And the astral plane in the OA has stars and a reflective floor, and so that was kind of the inspiration for the star rooms here. And the goal for these was that they would be hidden in plain sight, so you could play through the game and not even notice them if you're not being careful and observant. But if you look around, then you might find one. The way we made the star rooms try to fit into the game narrative is that Dr. Pierce, while designing these dream levels, it's a lot of work, so occasionally he would need to take a break, just lie down, close his eyes, meditate a bit, and so he hid these star rooms in the levels that potentially only he could find. And it kind of reminded me, I've been to MoMA in New York once, and they had a relaxation room that was kind of dark, and people could lie on the ground and look up at, projected things on the walls. And that was kind of like the visual and thing I was going for. So when I joined the project, this infinite elevator sequence wasn't actually infinite. It was just a very large block of, 20 by 10 elevators. And the performance, as a result, wasn't very good. And the illusion could be ruined if you walked all the way to one side. So one of the things I did was actually make it infinite. So there's a much smaller block of real elevators, and the player gets teleported seamlessly by portals on each end. And so the end result is an infinite elevator sequence that you can just go in one direction forever.
Please listen carefully for the sound of an alarm clock, which will automatically play if you are approaching a destabilizing dream weight.
So coming up with the way to actually make the portal and the portal make sense for the player was a really tough problem. And we iterated on this for weeks with input from all different team members. So it was really a group effort. But it was important to get it right because this is one of the pivotal moments in the game. And then another thing we had to do was figure out how to make the world degrade in a way that fit with the game's look and feel. And one day while prototyping, I just happened to accidentally assign a light map texture to one of the walls in the room, and I really liked the way it looked. Light map textures are textures generated by the engine offline to help with realistic lighting. So anyway, we ended up using this. So when the world degrades, the shafts of light breaking through the walls into the rooms, and that effect is actually driven by a light map texture from one of the other levels.
Please paradox from creating any refrains. Explosive dream overload may result. Please paradox overload. Please overload for dream explosion. Exclusion dream overcall frame.
This spatio-temporal moment of wonder is brought to you by the very long but invisible rectangular portals tucked behind these empty windows, looking out into other parts of the level you may soon travel to.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and many years ago, I had a dream. I found myself in a place where I understood that each of us begins as nothing, where everything I perceived was shaped by seeing it exactly the way I wanted to. White space.
This final level was designed with the idea of removing depth perception entirely. All the visuals are flattened.
But in white space, I also faced the greatest challenge I could imagine. Because with a lifetime of life itself behind me, and all of the weight that it carried, I realized that seeing things the way I wanted to was not as easy as it used to be.
Since the universe that the players inhabit is seemingly created in almost a kitbash way while within Somnosculpt, it was a unique challenge to show the players truly a peek behind the curtains of the system. A blank canvas, a scratch document, an empty sticky note with some notes, little things creatively interspersed throughout. I think I derived some of the inspiration for what happens when you're playing a VR game and suddenly the game crashes to a totally white space. That feeling of disorientation, even though you understand the world around you is an illusion.
Negative space is another concept related to changing expectations and changing your perceptions of an object. This puzzle works really well because the solution is obvious in retrospect, but it takes people a couple of seconds in order to figure out. We actually had to add the looping hallway because without it, people would run out of things to do and immediately start rubbing their bodies against the walls and come to the solution almost immediately.
You're well beyond dreaming now, and further out than anyone has ever come back from. But we hope that you won't get discouraged. After all, if this is a place of pure perspective, isn't it also a place where a different point of view could make anything possible? Isn't that why you came here? My name is... All of this has happened exactly the way it was supposed to.
This last section was something that Logan and I worked together on for a really long time. When I first saw it, I had this great feeling for how it could be like a really nice, impactful moment. And so I got this really kind of awe-inspiring, inspirational music to put behind it. And Logan absolutely hated it. I stuck to my guns and asked him to stick with it for a while and play it for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and see how things went. And he ended up totally coming around to my side of thinking. Initially, we were unsure if we went for this kind of pure feeling that it would just be really hokey. And I ended up reading this essay on television written by David Foster Wallace. And it really kind of encouraged me to kind of get over that sort of postmodern, too cool for anything aesthetic, and to just really go gung-ho into sort of rewarding you for ending the game by giving you something really nice.
This level was created early on. I liked the idea of giving the player some time to think about their journey rather than ending the game immediately, and I knew film-like cuts would be perfect for revisiting their experience through the game. Chris initially suggested a song for reference, and at first I hated it. I kept listening to it though, and eventually grew to love the song. Matt came up with a track that is even better than the reference material, and it fit perfectly.
Your life will always be a struggle, and you will always have problems. But today, you had the chance to see things differently. Even though it meant facing obstacles that seemed impossible at first, you overcame them. Because you saw things from every angle, you understood. Because you kept moving forward, no matter how far off the path you were told you were headed, or how unexpected it became, you found your way. In a few minutes, you'll be back in the real world, and some part of you will say that none of this was real. So how could it have really meant anything? But just like the power of perspective itself, it will have been as real as you believed it to be. All you've got to do is wake up.
That's it. That's the game.
Yeah, and thanks for listening all the way through. If you did that.
Thank you for exploring our dreamy environments. I love you.
The models, textures, avocados, let's see, materials, rubber duck, apples. I think that's all of the art.
And thanks for enjoying the music and sound.
And the writing.
And the code that holds everything together.
Are we going to talk about the design goal of this level?
Please, do.
The goal was to show you who made the game.
Thank you.
Hello, 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 hello.
Warning, the average adult can only withstand 3 to 5 hellos per night.
Absolutely. Hello, 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 hello.
Dr. Glenn Pierce, this is clearly intentional.
Why do I feel like everything is going wrong?
Noted, Dr. Pierce.
Hello.
Warning, this is extremely rude.
Hello. My name is...
Insignificant.
Anyway, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to thank you
This is respectful.
because you saw things from every angle. You found your way. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You're now headed in the right direction. All you've got to do is wake up.